What's up, guys? So Suprise here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are back here again on Google Maps because we just got a brand new Google Street View update for the country of São Tomé and Príncipe. So once again, this is a complete shock to most, a complete surprise. We weren't really expecting this. It wasn't leaked or officially announced or anything like that. Just like Kazakhstan that we got last Friday. So that makes 2 Fridays in a row that we were getting a brand new country to Google Street View. So of course, as I said, the new country is São Tomé and Príncipe. We do have pretty much full coverage on both islands, the island of São Tomé and the island of Príncipe up here up north. The islands are around like 180 kilometers apart. So if you guess the wrong island, you could lose pretty decent points. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I do have a few locations opened up in the tabs, but it is not all fun and games because there is one fatal flaw with this update. It does use the poor quality third-party camera, whatever you want to call it, just like India or other countries. So this does join India as the only country to have just this camera and no other type of camera. So I guess it's better than nothing. It's not that bad. It is a new country, so I guess, we could live with it, I guess. But yeah, moving on, here is the first location that I do have. One thing you may notice is in that most locations, it does have this giant boxy blur in the back of the car. So in order to play NMPZ, of course, this is not going to work. You would have to do something like this. But this is not all locations. There are different types, of course, that have opened other tabs that I will show you. But yeah, this is a location on the island of São Tomé here. This is how it looks with the unofficial camera. Pretty cool, I guess, nonetheless. One location here with that blur. Here is another location on the island of São Tomé with that same boxy blur on the back. Here's that. It is a pretty volcanic island, pretty mountainous, pretty tropical. It does look pretty cool despite the camera quality, I guess, to have now on GeoGuessr. So once again, this is another lock with that blur. Moving on, here is a location in the city of São Tomé here, and it does still have that blur, but you could see over it, since I guess if you're not on a hill or anything, you could still see like over the blur. So this location right here, if it's facing this way, again, it's definitely not bad, pretty much. And then if you look back, you would still see like over the blur and whatnot, because this is flat on like a city street. Here's another location, the same thing in the city of São Tomé. Again, you could see over the blur and whatnot. That you could still see the antenna and like the rear view mirror here in some side view mirror, in some locations it's visible. But yeah, here we have another location in the city of São Tomé as well. Moving on, here is another location on the island of São Tomé that is rural. Again, you could still see over the blur in some locations if you're not on a hill like the first ones I showed you. This is on like the main highway on the eastern part of the island that we have. Next up is a location with a different kind of blur, kind of like flat and circular, so you could see all around. I don't know if this is what they intended for all the locations to look like, but we do have it available with this kind of blur that you could find, of course, in other countries that use this same camera type. This is the same road as the previous one, just a little bit more north, and this one was taken in March. So yeah, another thing that I noticed, most of these locations were taken, or most of this footage was taken in February of last year, so it's been around a year that this has been taken, and then they just released it this Friday, March 29. Moving on to the island of Príncipe, I do have a couple of locations. One thing that I did notice with the island of Príncipe is that the locations are a lot more like saturated in the colors. It's a lot more darker than the island of São Tomé. So if this is pretty universal throughout the island, this will be very cool for guessing between the two islands. Make it a lot easier, so not really losing too many points. So again, we have the same boxy blur, but you could see over it since we're not really that much on like an incline or whatever. You could see all around despite that blur. And then here is another location on the island of Príncipe. Again, it is using the same blur. The island does use Portuguese road signs here, as you can see with the yellow on black chevrons, as well as this sign. Definitely Portuguese influence because they were a former Portuguese colony. Pretty cool to have. Those are just some locations that I want to show you on the island of São Tomé and the islands of Príncipe. Pretty much full coverage, just it's using the poor quality camera. Again, joining India with the only country to have this camera. So I could definitely see some wild guesses going other countries that have this camera on like NPZ, for example. So we'll just have to wait and see. I will be playing this update on GeoGuessr itself in the coming days, so stay tuned for that video. I might even do some 1v1s on this map only, along with Kazakhstan as well, which came out last week. That video is in the works, it's in the making, and it will be out soon for that 1v1 that I filmed, as well as playing in general will be pushed out within the coming days as well. That's pretty much all I have to say for this brand new country of São Tomé and Príncipe. It's pretty unexpected, pretty wild, very obscure country. Like, no one really expected to get São Tomé and Príncipe on Google Street View. Nonetheless, it's always a great day when Google releases a new country, even despite the camera quality. With that being said, that is pretty much it for this video. So that's going to wrap up today's video of GeoGuessr. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. As always, stay safe. And alright guys, it's been awesome watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.